Baltune is a fan favorite. Let's just make that very clear. But Scarlet, this man is spicy. And he is definitely someone to watch. He sometimes takes down the top of the top, and then we don't see him for a little while.
Yeah, he just goes and hibernates and then comes back, and then it's like, yeah, I think it's like when strategy that came out of team games work really well, he looks really good. That's the interesting thing for me about Baltune, is like, because that's pretty much what he loves to play. But Scarlet Devil, what to say about this guy? It's been a bit of a weird journey. I think there was a point in last year where it's like, okay, yeah, no, dude, this guy is almost on Louis and CSO's level. You know, he's going to be number 2 in China within like 3 months. Then it's calmed down a bit. It almost felt like he may be given that second in China just because CSO stopped playing. But at the same time, it didn't feel like Scarlet Devil was improving at the same pace that some of these other players were. So this is going to be a real big testament for him, because we have to remember, like, he's the representation for China. Louis MT declined. He's not going to be there. So when you're thinking who could represent the East, and it would be tragic if no one was able to there in Londinium, Scarlet Devil is now the one.
And that's a pretty big load to carry, because keep in mind, that's still only the top 4. And to break through and qualify into the top 4, we still want to see China being represented. Absolutely. Seeing all the continents coming together, we have some favorites from America. We have our favorites from Europe. And honestly, Europe is looking quite dominant now. Wham and Papipo already have some pretty big uphill battles. But Scarlet Devil, this man is going to need to fight really hard and make this look convincing. Because Baltune, we have seen him absolutely obliterate people, especially with these picks that he's been handed. And that gives us a second to quickly look at the draft. So, Sengoku, the first ban coming in here with a Japan on the other side. So, a pretty solid message we get again from these players. House of Lancaster next, and Ottomans, because of what you said with the maps that we are seeing constantly in this map pool with the Front Range and Frisian Marshes, both of them giving Ottomans quite a bit of an edge, which neither of these players wanted to face.
Yeah, it's just there are elements of the draft that's like one player being maybe team focused, one being 1v1 focused. I don't want to like be too harsh on that though, because I'd say both of these guys are big team players. It's just the fact that like Lancaster and Sengoku get allowed at all, right? Like to one player entirely. The sacrifice on the other side was Japan, and the most interesting one to me is Macedonians. I think Macedonians is one of the most snowbally civs in the game. In fact, when the DLC came out, I was like, mark my words, when the dust settles, this will be the broken civ. Because there's obvious things with the other civs, right? Like healer elephants, very obvious. Sengoku, ninjas, all these other things, very obvious. Macedonians is so much more subtle at first until you start thinking about the implications of having double the armor upgrades, of having the best heavy cav unit in the game and paying the same price for it, having a tempo landmark like Hippodrome that gets you into these different arcing strategies. And players have been exploring. I've seen like the Canadians diving deep into the way of the spear. We've seen a lot of the Europeans leaning very hard into just horsemen into a fast castle type build. There's even the Varangian Guard cheese that on the ladder right now is the easiest way to ruin a game for anyone whose rank is lower than Conk.
I have been a victim to this, so I just want to attest to that. And Twitch chat, I know you guys haven't had any problems because all of you are probably stuck there in Conk 3. But guys, we have a pretty good matchup here for our first one. And this time, we let something through on both sides. Baldland getting both our French varieties and original in here, ensuring that there's going to be a lot of night-on-night action. And I feel like this is Baltune's happy place, but you have to ask yourself, is it his happy place when he's not playing on an EU server? Because there is that little bit of delay for both of these players when you are playing on another server, especially in a knight versus knight matchup, where every millisecond counts. You pulling your knights back in that moment, just not getting that extra shot off, is going to make a massive, massive difference for these guys here.
I think the bigger concern is that he picked John Dark. Like, that's...
What?
It doesn't get picked very often right now. It's like one of the rarest sights, you know? Like, if you saw Jean d'Arc and you, like, came from Warcraft 3, you're like, oh, boy, a hero unit. Finally, for me, I'm going to play this game. You're, like, probably the only person on the ladder doing it at the moment. French has just been kind of growing in popularity. The interesting part is, like you mentioned, Ping. I think that won't be as much of a problem for Baltune because he plays higher ranked team games, which means he's primarily playing against Chinese players.
Okay, so he was born for this, basically.
Yeah. He's molded himself in the lag,
Okay. Scarlet Devil, though, we'll have to see. Well, if Scarlet is also a high ranked team gamer, then he might be. Oh, actually, they do play mostly on their server in that case, then. But JD, like you said, it's not something that you very often see, sure. But in a France versus JD, I think that's the one instance where it does make a lot of sense, especially on a map where you look away for a second and all of a sudden there's a knight on your wood line and you lose a villager. And that's exactly where JD is supposed to also have a shot at doing so. But I guess I would pose this question to people in chat, and specifically if we have our high-ranked Twitch chatters, right? Where would you regard these two? Are we rather going for JD in a French versus JD or French in French versus JD? I think most people might land on French, but we'll see what Twitch chat says to us, because, KP, they're all high-ranked.
Oh,
you
yeah,
have
of
to
course.
trust them.
Like, I hear, like, if you sub, every channel you sub to in the Twitch AoE4 directory, you also get, like, 400 extra elo. It's just the way it works. So just keep pounding up. It's stacks, it's compounding. But, like, it's an interesting one, because historically, like, this is a very volatile matchup. It usually comes down to, like, the first few nights, because if you screw up your positioning and lose Jean, you kind of lose all influence. But if you have good positioning and you protect Jean, all those knights get low. Now it's a one-hit wonder. Snipe, right? Because usually you go range form. So there's a micro skill expression to be had here. Like, this is the nice thing is, like, if you're talking perfect micro, you're probably favoring French. But how often do you really see perfect?
Let's see what that early game looks like for us as we are almost ready to hop into Baldland. Finally, the answer will be answered of which Knight civilization is better, but I see Twitch chat saying it's French. So let's see if you guys are right. Scarlet Devil representing here from China and Baltune from Sweden. Let's see who is going to be the one making it through to our next road to Wololo.
Oh, it's going to be a thrilling one between the two. It feels like it's been too long since we've seen the Baltuna in action. He's fishing for an opportunity to be in the main event for that road to Wololo. We have to remember, 8 qualify through these qualifiers, but only 4 that will make it at the end of it all. It is a vicious and not easy path to make it through to Londinium this year. And, you're already seeing the stacked qualifiers, right? Like Baltune versus Scarlet Devil, we just had Kilyadi versus GIF, got Numenor Mirad coming up, Voldemar versus Scatterbrain. The cool thing is just to see the old guard that are already there, and then the new guard coming through. And the curious part being who is going to end up where.
Now, I would really like to see what the situation is with these wheelbarrow openings, but I do see it being researched there under all the upgrades for Scarlet Devil.
We had to make it interesting. Like, can you spot it?
Can you spot it?
Oh, you made it easy now.
Right there. Come on. We like the challenge. But we do see the food going over to the side of Baltune a little bit more. And when you are in a knight versus knight fight, that is also usually a major, major factor. Who runs out of food first? That's a big, big question. Yes. And at the same time, let's take a look at our gold spawns to see how easily they're going to get clapped by a little knight raid. This one, Baltune, he's not living in the Swedish mountains, let me tell you that. That poor man is right on top at the front where anyone can strike hard. But at the same time, Scarlet is not in the best of closed-off positions either. I like that it was a pretty even one with regards to how open the golds are, at least. Especially in this matchup.
I mean, like, on this map, like, to put it a different way, it feels like he's living down in Malmo or somewhere, right? Like, he hasn't got the mountain range near him. And at the same time, like, it's a bit weird for Scarlet. He has got that gold a little bit inside the tree lines, but the corner gold isn't really that easily secure. So, like, there's a lot of exposure on both sides. What's interesting is the scouting patterns that went through here. Baltune just getting a little bit more because he went wide first. But Scarlet did mostly recover. I think what Scarlet was trying to do is sniff out any critical detail about, like, A, the spawn so I can raid, but B, how many people has he got on gold? Because if you see that early on, you can then theorize whether it's going to be like a wheelbarrow opening. The fact that Baltune placed a mill but didn't go wheelbarrow is a little bit suspicious. Like, you obviously want pro scouts, but you could have delayed it. I think we're probably getting PS on both sides, though. Like, this map, there's too much deer. And the deer is way too far upfield in a knight v knight matchup to not bring the deer home.
Now, with the deer play that some people do like to do here, and of course, when we're talking about the food, you need that food to just continue night production. This is usually where the pick-offs happen and where the night numbers start to matter. But let's go see. One thing I really love about this, when you're not playing a mirror match, or I'm calling this a mirror match, but you guys know what I mean. So, when you're not playing a mirror match, you usually get to choose. Am I going to go for that night first, or am I actually going to go for a nice little pro scouts and just make as many as I can, quickly get one night out after that, and then ensue with the raids, ensuring that my opponent does not get to move out too much. We do see a little bit of a pop cap here for Scarlet Devil, but the timing is just right. Oh, there we go. Baltune now aging up, instantly queuing up that first night, and here it begins, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see if Scarlet Devil's first night is going to go for the aggressive, or if he's just going to go and absorb that first shock that we see from Baltune's landing a little bit first.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Baltune, I think this is like a 2-night opening into maybe Pro Scouts afterwards, if at all. Like, he's going Wheelbarrow on a delay. The interesting thing here is, like, Wheelbarrow is much harder to achieve in the Dark Age for Jean than French, which is why you usually skip it. I think the curious part to me is still the fact that you just built the mill so early on. Because, like, the idea is, by the time you're teching up, French are going to have, like, an extra 1.5 villages. And you're sacrificing a villager when you do tech up as Jean. It's a really weird, contradictory state. I remember when some players came back to the game, I was talking to them about it. They're like, well, I know how to pro scout with French, but the setup for Jean just feels so much weirder because of that slight economical difference.
Now, Scarlet is playing it quite safe here. We do see a tower coming up on the gold pretty quickly. And that is 100 wood that could have been spent on something else. Every single time that you make a decision, you have to make it actively. And that's what I mean. Scarlet is actively deciding, hey, I need this tower. While Baltune is just going for the straight up night investment. He does get the charge off and does not get a villager, but that's a very low villager who will be very much up for grabs a little bit later. And the next night also getting a pretty good connection here. So very quickly causing a little bit of havoc already. And Scarlet Devil, he's making the knights, but he's just a little bit slower than Baltune right now.
Man, it's a full death stare. You know that kind of moment? Like I had a short come up from Malcolm Middle recently, like where they hear a story about someone super gluing someone's face to the floor. So both of them just stay up until they just like they can't keep their eyes open anymore because they're like, I'm gonna super glue you. It's got that feeling about it. Like neither one wants to go pro scouts because it feels like if he does, he's gonna get his face super glued to the floor.
Well, Pro Scouts is quite expensive. That is going to cost you at least a night. So when you are a little bit behind on that, you do not want to take any of those risks.
And the
Scarlet
Scouts,
Devil,
right? Like it's production as well as costs. It blocks you out. But I've got a pause coming through.
a little bit of a think for either. Baltune, deciding where those knights are going to be going next. Scarlet Devil gets to reflect on his decisions as well. Oh, never mind. Reflection's done.
Reflection's over. This is like the impatient Buddhist monk. You're like, oh, I've meditated for 12 seconds. Back to work.
Now, the second stable being added here from Scarlet Devil as well. John, by now, she probably already has blessed one of those buildings, ensuring that the knights are just a little bit cheaper. So we can see exactly... What did she... Wait. Is she not blessing anyone? No one has been blessed.
What the fuck? I don't blame her. I don't blame her. I know what they're going to do to me in the future if I'm her, okay? And if she has foresight, why would I help out the people that are going to, like, burn me, you know?
Maybe the cooldown. It's not instant. I actually thought the moment she ages up, you get one of those charge. Okay. So we're still waiting for that first charge.
I'm trying to remember, actually.
Almost there.
It's been a while. It's like one of those things you usually instinctively expect to see. But the worrisome part here is, like, look at the difference in economy that's already starting to appear. Like, you can see how Scarlet is going to start pulling ahead at this rate, right? It's 4 more villages already.
And there's a knight there looking at Baltune's... Yeah, looking at Baltune's golden line. He's just waiting for a little bit of an opening here. Sees no victims on the berries, potential ones. But at the same time, like you said, there's an economical difference. Scarlet doesn't really need to already. Scarlet is ahead in villagers.
Yeah.
So the question is just now, what are we going to see with the food here? Because now we're getting to a point where the sheep is running a little bit dry already. But that's a lot of knights, and Baltune could get a pretty good shot off here. Not all those villagers are going to fit inside.
That's the wheelbarrow, though. Just want to respect the Jean. The thing is, like, Jean kind of wants to be in a position where she's hugging a tree line so she can't be accessed. Because otherwise, like, Scarlet could try to run past you. In fact, the onus is kind of on him to do that as this goes on, because if you do just choose to do a big melee fight, we always have to remember Divine Restoration. It's a critical ingredient in these early engagements. And considering at this point they haven't really fought that much, you wouldn't be surprised to see your opponent doesn't have Chivalry yet.
Now, with Baltune floating a little bit of extra gold here, with 9 on gold, is there ever an opening for you to actually get that little bit of a pro scout play? Or I don't think so. I think you're just in having enough to constantly produce here.
You either have to pro scout or you're going to have to outpost secure onto deer. Those are kind of your options, right? I do like the idea of just going to the far southern side or the far northern side, because then you get the deer and the boar, so it's like outpost value. Whereas if you outpost the center, the only upside is that your army will be closer to reinforcing when you get attacked there.
Now, what I like to see is that because the game is not used to seeing this many knights in the game, we do get the slideshow version of knights.
Oh yeah,
So, guys,
it's just what it is. It's like it's an interactive story. So literally, you get 1 second every time it pauses. We go, will you go right or left with the knight? And the problem right now is like it's just assuming you're just not quick enough to answer. So look, now you got enough time. Is he gonna A, go to the south side, B, dive north side with Jean full force, C, run away because he's a coward, or D, A click underneath the army? Okay, it's gonna be an A click into the army. Divine Restoration came in really early there, actually. And Scarlet, he wins that fight. Easily, right?
Just like that, pretty quickly on. JD did get a little bit of experience here, but he doesn't overcommit. Now, JD is healing back up, but like you said, Divine Restoration was a little bit early, and the Knights weren't low enough to really get the value from there.
Yeah.
Him just trying to do his best to make sure that that gets some value, but JD now... she's going to be very exposed against all of this. We do have a scout standing a little bit far back here, but these knights aren't healing up anytime soon. Chivalry is being researched, but it takes a while. The villagers, though, looking kind of juicy, but the knight numbers is on the side of Scarlet Devil, and one of them getting picked up. Disgusting.
That's greedy. I mean, it's a select all army classic, I think, right there. Like Scarlet. And this is why a lot of players just like to garrison in the TC with the injured knights, but sometimes you forget. I've literally seen games where someone has piled 15 horsemen inside of a TC and forgotten about them, and it's lost in the game. So that's the type of moment that holds in your head. But, you know, Baltune, he has got Chivalry coming in as well. He's keeping that pressure up, but reminder, he has to. It's a 5 eco lead. It's not going to get smaller.
And Baltune does not really have an answer to any of that just yet. Sure. Ooh, the Chivalry is ticking, but the Knights are looking for a little bit of a charge here. He does not want to take this fight just yet. JD, they're trying to back away, takes counter charge a little bit.
Yeah.
But
That's
not
really
looking
nice.
for a fight just yet.
Because, like, you don't want to engage with your Scarlet because there's an immediate damage buff there, we have to remember. Like, that's why it's always encouraged to be second to charge where possible.
So when I look at this army now from Baltune, he's focused on the food there at the bottom because he knows this is going to be a problem for me too. I'm already out on the map trying to get food myself. So this is most likely where I need to land to stop the night production. So the gold being mostly ignored. We have 15 on gold right now, and most of the villages here now being protected by a bit of a wall. JD, she's standing a little bit far back, but the knights are quick to surround, and quickly she's going to be able to help pick off.
They can get to Jean.
She's going to heal.
She go around the back. She is very tanky, though. The fight is clustered. It's a bit of a concave. This favors yellow. Remember, red doesn't have all of his knights here. So has to break away, but that means Jean is going to be going down. You cannot protect her like this. Sniped, short of being able to get the XP for level 3. The military mass is something that Baltune needs to be careful of. He still needs to retreat all the way home just to mirror the knight count. He turns for a short-range charge, but good micro by Scarlet to keep the trades even.
Knight versus knight fight, and it's just looking like French is doing it so much better here with the knight numbers just being in the lead right now. But now we're going back on defensive arc, and Baltune is going to have the reinforcements in his base. Scarlet does not want to engage into this because if he loses those knights, it just so quickly turns back into the favor of Baltune. He's going to let JD come back passively though, and that's a great idea, right? We want to make sure that our JD comes back in time. We don't spend that extra gold on her. But at the same time, she doesn't get the time to regen. I believe during that time, you don't get the... Yeah?
Oh, sorry. I was curious about that because I think Baltune saw the deer move through the fog and reacted to it. That was actually really important because Scarlet was trying to sneak a knight out at that very moment. So that's the type of moment that holds in your head. But you know, Baltune, he has got Chivalry coming in as well. He's keeping that pressure up. But reminder, he has got the knights coming in as well. So Because, like, in the current state of things, his food is a problem. He needs to start strangling Baltune a little bit. But to your point, like, sorry, you were saying about JD when she's dead, like, XP, etc. She doesn't get the XP, right? And I believe the cooldowns don't continue, at least, like, Consecration doesn't. So it's pretty punishing to, like, be dead often. But the XP grind is looking good. Like, I gotta say, Baltune's position in this game, despite the fact that, like, it feels as if the trades are just getting worse for him, it's kind of expected to. Your goal isn't to be ahead on destroyed army value. Your goal is to be competitive and get level 3 Jean.
Him having to invest in a wall that is the length all the way to China is going to be a little bit expensive there, but it also doesn't secure as many resources. We see it trying to just secure that little bit of a berry bush at the back and ensuring that those raids are not going to be too simple. But with the Knight army, all with the villagers on the berries on Scarlet Devil, that's how you know the man is starving. He doesn't want to sacrifice his own knights to go and raid, because every single one he loses is just going to make sure that this army gets scarier and scarier. But Baltune, he's also still going for the food. He knows exactly where to hit, where it hurts. And Baltune having 22 idle now, so this means that those food sources that these villagers were on, they were definitely not in the greatest of places. Now moving to those back berries too, and the wall will do a great job at protecting.
Oh, Knight does get in. Just the one. Yeah, I like this approach. You just don't want to send much over. It's just too risky when you're playing Mass Knight and Mass Knight. Gold has been mostly harvested. Scarlet has already braked off to the backside corner. You see the Knight count. I mean, the interesting thing here is Jean is close by. She's in an open field. You need to be very careful, because if she does get seen, it's immediately gone. But the reason why Baltune is confident is the scout did get sniped, right? So Scarlet should be blind with this main army.
And not seeing that Jean is going to give Baltune a little bit of time to also reposition, because he knows exactly where his opponent is. He knows where that second gold is, but protected by walls. So, of course, you don't just have easy access. If you go in deep, you're committing quite a lot here. Those 3 knights, though, they pull back, knowing that this is not going to be a safe place to be. But we do see those berries getting depleted at the speed of light. And Baltune...
Wait, Jean? Whoa, whoa, boy, whoa. He has to fight now. Baltune has to defend the Jean. Goes for the clash. This should easily be level 3, though, because Scarlet, he can't afford to just break away and go straight after the Maiden. So he sticks to the clash. Going to have the rejuvenation available, I believe, so she'll be able to pump in a second. There we go. Level 3 Jean summons the Riders, and now the increase in DPS. Baltune, he has got the potential firepower to start winning this, but needs to be careful with the fragile state of Jean. The good news for him, his food is still unharassed. The bad news for Scarlet, his food is now on the front line.
And that deer pack right in front there is exactly where he most likely does want a little bit of action soon, but he doesn't want it with a bunch of knights. JD having a great time.
Like, this is the thing. Like, you just have to now run. Scarlet's numbers aren't impressive anymore. He's going to have to gather here, though. The problem is, like, if he leaves, he has no food. So Baltune just turns it into a meat grinder that is designed to grind Scarlet into pulp.
And these knights, we see the numbers falling like flies. Baltune being ahead now, 15 knights to 4. This is going to be game 1 for Baltune, taking down Scarlet Devil, leveling the field. There we go. So Baltune doing an amazing job here at showing JD is viable. You just need to raid a little bit better.
That's weird, because people say, like, if like you shouldn't JD while gaming. That's drunk while driving kind of thing. But this form of JD is good for you, healthy for you. I mean, I got to give it to Baltune. I think he out-microed. There was some great charges in. He was always kind of preempting and then also pulling away, getting short-range charges off, which meant that Scarlet couldn't trade with him. Other thing you got to keep in mind, tempo, tempo, tempo. This matchup is all about who can make the other dance like a monkey. And the problem here is it felt like Baltune was the cowboy shooting at the feet. Scarlet was just dancing for him the whole time. And just an elegant read, just the way he approached the areas that he fought in, his understanding of where Jean can be allowed to stand. Like, we'll probably see if we've got a little bit of action replay. Even that final fight, as he approached the food, he hugged towards the gold, because pathing gets really weird around gold outcroppings. The idea being is that Jean can't easily be accessed. And even though it looked like a slip off where she's hanging around a bit too long, he understood at that point that he'd done the hard part. He'd grinded the XP to the point of victory. And, you know, it seems easy, right? Like, you look at this, you're like, why didn't he just send 2 knights to kill her? She has 225 HP. You don't kill her fast when there's a huge knight fight going on and you both have the same count.
Now, getting French out for Scarlet Devil is a pretty good feel, especially with a civ like JD. So
look at this.
I think Oh,
You see that
beautiful surround.
approach? It's like the approach, he chooses the gold specifically because you can't just 8-click into it. You've had it, right? Like, you try and 8-click into that fight, 5 knights are running around that gold vein like idiots, and you lose the fight because numbers no longer make sense.
I just love how he instantly went between, but at the
Yeah.
same time, is this a question of where should Scarlet Devil have put more knights onto Jean in that moment, or was it never going to be enough? Because the moment you do, you lose that DPS on the knights. So
I think it's
I
earlier.
guess just doomed from the go.
Yeah, I think it's earlier, like, especially with that outpost up early on, maybe you just have to take a little bit of risk. There was a really good fight initially where the trade value it looked mostly even. They both lost 3 knights, but Baltune also lost the scout. And I thought that was the moment where Scarlet would try and sneak a knight out and start raiding. We only saw that knight sneak out much later from Scarlet, and I think that's the problem for him, is despite the fact his economy is better, Baltune never gave him an opportunity to go and raid at all.
And Scarlet Devil did play that a little passively in that case, protecting his villagers because he knew the value of having the night mass together, but at the same time, was that worth it in not being completely present on the map the whole time, causing a little bit of idle time? Because Baltune had access to a few more deer as well. Don't really know where that would land in the end, but guys, now we have our next matchup. And our next matchup, we actually prefer to play against Sengoku instead of Byzantines, apparently, says Baltune. He does not want to face Byzantines on Dry Arabia. Rather give me Sengoku. He's going to go take care of the Yatai on his own terms. But getting China? That's not a bad situation whatsoever.
Yeah, this is an interesting one to think about, actually. Maybe if Baltune's not playing like a pro scout build, that can be a bit difficult, though, right? We saw the opening of the last series, it was Dry Arabia, it was China versus Byzantines. In that matchup, you could not go pro scouts because you could just go on the map. You didn't have to worry. This is different. Sengoku prioritize raiding, always. They're always opening Yari. It's very rare not to see that. So Baltune's going to have to kind of weave that into the plan. He might be forced to be more defensive and more reactive because of that.
Of course, it feels pretty hard to do damage to China. Sengoku does have the answer of just having very early military and very early presence on the map, even when investing into something like the Yatai. So they do have an answer for most of what's on offer. And the problem is, if you don't shut down those Yatai in the first few minutes, they already get the eco boost from the Matsuri. So, yeah, Sengoku. I've had a few discussions about Sengoku in the last few days, and I didn't realize all the edges they had until I realized they have rocks, papers, and scissors, and you don't have anything you can do about that unless you just play better. But China's a civ that might have the ability to do so with just having that little bit of extra income, especially early on with your imperial officials. We'll see if that is going to be enough. But very strongly saying, I do not want to face Malians yet again. So another prio ban very quickly from Scarlet Devil. He did not want to deal with Malians on Baldland, and he doesn't want to deal with it on Dry Arabia. Is he going to let Malians see the light of day, or is this just going to be a permanent Malian ban?
It might have to be. It's a solid pick on King of the Hill and Front Range. I can see a world in which, like, to try and slip the Malians in, he could prioritize Malian Roofs for King of the Hill. Both of them are very desirable civs there. For Front Range, probably Malians or Macedonians, and depending on what Scarlet has, the Macedonians might actually prove to be more threatening, but a lot of players have been sleeping on that civ, so I would assume he'd just let Macedonians through. But, I'm curious to see how Baltune wants to approach this. Sengoku's such a weird civ. You feel like you need to shut down the Yatais. You can't really do it in the Dark Age. You don't ever want to be in the Dark Age as China. Let's see what he can do. Game number 2, Baltune looking to extend his lead. 1 game up here. We head into Dry Arabia, but Scarlet Devil has the exact type of civ to get you back into the action. It's Sengoku time.
These two choosing the colors of red and yellow drives me absolutely nuts, especially when we have a red flag absolutely everywhere to try and follow. So definitely going to be messing up these names quite a few times. We see the first Yate with the perfect opening, of course. Scarlet Devil, this is something that I love about Sengoku. It's just that house that you need to delay to get the Yatai out at exactly the right time. That feels good. We see it going straight on the board, pretty close board as well. So it will already start ticking pretty quickly. Now, Baltune going for the standard Chinese thing, which is just aging up normally. And Scarlet is playing Sengoku, right? So most people say that you go for the 3 yatai, which feels greedy in a lot of cases, but it just makes mathematical sense because you get so much food back. It pays off so quickly. So is this something you've been seeing in your events as well? Do you see people only going for 2, or is it always the 3 yatai situation?
So sometimes you feel justified in 2. The idea there is like, for example, this is pro scouts. Going 3 would slow you a little bit more on starting to react to that play. I'm more in the free camp from the logic being, if you've moved your villagers over to wood already, the idle time of now sending them back to do something else for like a fast attack feels a little bit contradictory. You don't really see that much difference. You see less efficiency that way. It is going to be informed partially by spawn, though. Like, if you have a really trash spawn, and there's, like, for example, if you get deer plus berries and then boar on the other side, like, great, do that, and then stick the third one at your home. Like, here, it's not the best in the world. Scarlet has the deer to the south side. He has the boar to the north. I don't think the northern deer is close enough to the berries that he could cluster that. So he's going to get a little bit less efficiency there. But sometimes the spawn is just way too good to resist the free. Like, insanely good. Like, you look at it, you're like, I think I can get 180 food per minute here.
That feels absolutely disgusting to play against. But luckily, Scarlet here, only putting that one on a little deer pack, it does make sure that 180 will not be on the cards just yet. But Scarlet now, he's also a little bit ahead with the sheep. And this is something to consider, because that third yatai is going to be snacking on all the sheep that is in range as well, once the scout brings them back home. Yes, that's what I was about to say.
That's the catch.
Yeah, and with him not spreading, if he decides not to spread it out too evenly, they're going to deplete pretty quickly as well. But let's go see. That first age up, pretty standard by this point. Everybody going for the Cocker Township. There's no question about it. It is just so good. Nothing else needs to be considered.
Sorry, what was the landmark called again?
Cocker Township?
You sure that's definitely the name?
Should I say it Coca Township?
Yeah, it's Coca. I remember, like,
Coca.
I done what you did, and Winston, the very first time this civ came out, was on my ass straight away. He's like, no, you're just dirty-minded. It's a Coca. I was like, oh, it's a Coca. Hey. I love some of the pronunciations.
Oh no, guys. I can see it in chat already. I'm going to keep calling it the Coca. Yep, cock.
Just commit at this stage. Love to see a good big old Coca Township coming through. 40 seconds out. Has been heavily nerfed. You could argue that like the Coca has deflated in size and power compared to where it once was. Used to have a lot of uptime, but as we know, is like as you age, you know, and the game matures, you tend to have a little bit less, you know, pump constantly, and that's what we've seen here. It's gone from 100% uptime to about I think 40% uptime on those ninjas now.
I would even disagree and say the uptime has been significantly less than 40 for a lot of players, as they just use it defensively. So it depends on the matchup here.
They just shoot out straight away and then they just disappear, right? Like he.
Hello, boys.
What are we up to here?
We are just spawning them. See, this is interesting for me. So when we have these, you don't, of course, you don't need to save them in a lot of cases, because why? You can just send them out and go and raid a little bit of villagers. Go make sure that they just get peppered up a little bit, as you're not expecting that aggression too early on. But actually, Baltune says, early on, aggression, of course. And that's exactly what he does. He sends out that first horseman. And now he might be in a position pretty soon where he's like, oh, I should have probably used these defensively. Peppering up the villagers. Here they go.
Wait.
See if one of them goes down first.
Are they peppering them up or just...
Oh, he just ghosted him.
God.
Just like that.
That was the best magical show we've had in this village all year. I can't wait for them to come back next season.
Oh, that was almost an amazing body block there with the scout as well. Pretty good job there by Baltune. Taught himself a little bit about how much body blocking will be necessary, but the first one does make it home. Getting all those resources from the boar. He doesn't go for the yatai because he realizes he's not going to get too much value from there. Goes for the second one to just pepper it up, do a little bit of damage. But Scarlet Devil, he's getting more and more horses. And we know exactly what that looks like in the right numbers.
It's the number is meant to be infinite. You're happy if you get a reason to build even more Yari here, and the follow-up is also kind of worrisome. Like, I think that the way that Baltune's approached this dance feels necessary to stop your ties, but it also feels annoying to have to do, because, like, there's a reason why people don't Dark Age rush Sengoku. Like, it's kind of pointless that your tie has 370 HP. So the idea here from Baltoon is kind of cool, like go for the Horseman alongside the Pro Scout. The negative is a lot of what you've now done is just enabled the Yari cavalry that are superior. What is interesting is the fact that Sengoku chose to go the Spearman instead of just one unit comping. Because arguably, with the way that Baltune has to play this, like going after your Yatai, defending his base, playing Pro Scouts, you could have just gone for solely a cavalry-based comp.
And then you would have the mobility, you can attack in multiple spots, and Baltune is going to be the one needing to react with those very, very slow spears. We do see him stopping making any horsemen from here on out and just constantly producing spears, with all of those scout numbers now significantly increasing. But with double deer pack on the same side, we know what's about to happen, and that's just control over one area. And the problem is, you get control on that side, and all the deer are inaccessible.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing we have to remember is that early Daimyo just super effective. Attack speed is more effective on melee units in general, and on top of that, it's just the unlock of the extra movement speed. Like, that's why I thought he'd just only go cavalry, because you just can't be caught. I still question the choice to make that the level 1 Takeda attack. Like, getting a 10% increase in movement speed caps these guys out at 2 movement speed.
It just ensures that they can make your life a living hell. And they're ready to do so. You can see with the numbers we have here from Scarlet Devil, this is getting to that point where you just put all your horses together and you just constantly raid the villagers. The spearmen will do the work on top of the deer, and you just go live your best life there at the back. So it's getting there. But now the spear's in position to protect that Pro Scout, get every bit of deer carcass he can. Now, a lot of spears here from Baltune and Q, as we just see him producing. How many barracks is this man on?
I would tell you, but like I'm a Dota player, so I could probably calculate it for you because I'm used to looking through lines on maps this much. But yeah, we've escalated up to double racks. It's Archer switch now. It's a lot of bloody spears from Baltune actually, which heavily enables the Sengoku switch into Yumi. You also have to remember those Yumi are fast, very hard to catch. Curious to see like what the arcing strat here is for Baltune. Like with the Pro Scouts detail, in theory, you just want to try to skip out to castle quickly. I think he's really paranoid about this Sengoku timing. Because it does feel like when you see Scarlet adding in spears, he's going all in. It doesn't feel like a castle bait.
Now it does look Sengoku is going to have a pretty good time when it comes to constantly getting upgrades behind this as well. With only 2 on gold, he's just getting enough to constantly keep up, get every single bit he can. He goes up for the next one as well. Now getting that ranged defense, and that is just going to make sure that this archer transition is not going to feel that good. I say transition, but there's only one archer out here right now, and Baltune is over.
You don't know. All right, he might be like Robin Hood of China. Okay.
Working really hard, but a few horses do get caught out. The thing is, they're just going to run away.
He's baiting him. Look at the village. He's just burning it right now. Like, okay, minus some wood there. I mean, pretty crafty, actually.
We've got a few archers here trying to do some work.
I wonder if he can take this fight, actually. Like, Yari, really freaking frustrating. And the Yumi, it's just the kite potential. Like, the Spear Crown... Wait, it doesn't feel like they're all here for Baltune. I think he's got some guarding the left side. Goes for the clash now. Hard commitment. The Shinobi have spawned, though. Came from the Stealth Forest. Frag Grenade's coming out. And it's going to be a full stand ground motion out of Scarlet. But there's not much in the way of cavalry left here. Just a small handful of Yari. And questions suddenly in our minds about whether this was the right move for Sengoku.
I mean, he got the village, but at what cost? The village... His goal was completed. But the problem is, you see Sengoku doing so well, and you're like, oh, I can just keep pushing. I can just take this fight into all the spears. But definitely not. It looks like that archer transition came at exactly the right time. Baltune being so fast at sniping out the spears that were making his life difficult. But Scarlet just not doing the same.
Yeah, so fast at producing as well is the other thing. Remember, you've got the supervision, which is so easy to do. Like that's the thing that's always made China so controversial. It's like the speed, the ability to get units out, not just get economy in the first place, is what makes them so vicious. And you know, Sengoku, like I always feel this way about like, man, what if we had a Hojo clan play here? Like imagine a spin with extra movement speed, for example. But you know, most players they're always just going for what Oda into Takeda just to get that breach of damage. Did he actually have the archer damage increase on Sengoku? I don't think.
That's a
No, I don't think he did. He didn't even have blacksmith tech. Okay, so yeah, if we just click on the estates, we'll see it in a sec. But there is just a pull for more deer. That also means minus value for the Yatai. And Baltune, I mean, as long as he doesn't go too far upfield here, I think he's in a pretty comfortable position.
Especially now with the constant food trickle he's got his way as well. The archers are just targeting the horses, which is pretty surprising here. Because this just means that he is just letting them A-move. And that's the issue here. You're letting your units A-move, which puts them in that awkward situation. But now the horses' numbers do start trickling in. The spearmen are remade, but apparently just not fast enough. And the archers now learning what they need to focus on. But another one might be going down. Ooh, I jinxed it, KP.
The daimyos get away.
Survives another day.
Yeah, they're gonna stay alive now. And what's crazy here is like Baltune, in hindsight, is probably thinking, oh, if I just got the blacksmith tech quicker, like that's the reason why Scarlet was able to turn that fight around. Is look at the tech difference. Baltune done that first defense, and I think he got a little bit overconfident and forgot that the blacksmith timing is what has historically made China feudal just so disgusting. He's only now doing it.
Well, we also saw the movement speed on the horses was not upgraded just yet.
No.
So,
But
those
there it
horses...
is. So he just got Steel Arrow into Higayumi. So he was missing both of the techs that would make Yumi good.
I'm actually quite surprised because he did have the resources for it at some point. And still chose to rather go for the basic blacksmith upgrades here and there. But now it does look like this is going to be a constant push in because you feel that pressure. You're up against Sengoku. They do have a little bit of extra economy because of, I say a little bit, those Yatai is a ton of extra economy. And you're not a China in, you know, in Song Dynasty. You don't get the faster villager production. So this does feel like it's more important for Baltune to land and do damage, and he just hasn't been able to do so just yet.
Yeah, but like
of horses, though.
To the point that you're tied, is it actually that much food? Because the deer are gone from the front side. Because Baltune took them. And
it's not about the food. It's about that boost, KP.
What do you mean that boost? The boost that you get from getting extra food?
Yeah, the boost around the Matsuri. The 30% boost.
Oh, got you. Yeah, you mean the eco booster. Got you.
The eco boost. Yes, you do get the food, but that one has paid off for now. Could we actually take a look at the Matsuri? Are we at 30% already?
He should be probably 25. Oh, no, he's got the full 30. Full salute. Ooh. Yep, it's come through.
Yep. So the next one is going to make things very, very important here because with your second one, you're actually just, you know, getting that eco a little bit more spread out. And that's exactly what you want to ask yourself. Where am I going to put that one next? Is it going to be a lot more susceptible to raiding? And honestly, I don't think he has a good spot. His
you can pull it back towards the corner, right? Like, but that's wide. And also, hold on a sec, towards the corner, Baltune catches Scarlet a little bit late on the reaction. No, guys, the Yatai is not that important. So the villagers will be able to walk away. Tech ups inbound on both sides. Baltune will trigger it first. Sake Brewery is on the way for Scarlet, though. And that is the landmark I was talking about. It is possibly the best castle landmark in the game.
Now the villagers are finally going to be a target, but not for long, as the reinforcements have arrived, and Baltune needs to be careful not to lose all these horses to all of that. Oh, the shinobis slowing down everything, and Scarlet, he has his eyes set on another village. The wood losses are going to be intense this game.
So is the gathering on this sake brewery. Look at it. You don't realize it, but they're just letting the harvest mature before they sink their teeth into that sweet, sweet rice turned into alcohol. Please go on the sake brewery.
No, it's
really
very
good.
difficult, especially when your gold is pretty close. When you age up, your villagers tend to just go back onto the gold, even if you right-click on the sake. Yeah. So I guess it's because it's, you know, related resources next to each other. Sorry, guys, I lost the ability to speak English in South Africa while I was gone, so We'll regain that with some time. Villagers, again, running for their lives. A little bit idle here, but a horse should be able to
Flash
poke
in
the
the
back.
center too. Like, this is a multifaceted deal from Baltune. So he's just looking for brute force down the center here. Numbers are looking better for him. And also keep in mind, like, numbers are deceptive. Most of Scarlet's army are trash tier archers. Admittedly, they do have decent damage stats. It's just their health is a little bit lower. And also, where's the heavy cap? Like, Scarlet hasn't even queued up a single knight. The only one coming through is now. By the time he has his first in the field, Baltune could easily have 6 or 7.
And that is exactly what he's going to be facing. We see a ton of lancers already here. Just sacrificed one of them. But now a villager also paying the price. Finally, Baltune gets a kill on a Vil. And the man is back ready, feels aggressive, and he is going to push just a little bit. But he does need to be careful here, not to lose too much.
The ninja. He hit them on the side here, but they're wasting all their frags on 2 spearmen. That's not good. Concave comes in, Baltune. It will start brewing in. These shinobi are not doing anything that useful. They literally have spent the entire time on 2 spearmen, allowing Baltune to just plow through the main fight.
And they picked off a few of these lancers, but at what cost? Everything else is still going perfectly fine. His samurais are not out yet. One is about to pop, but these samurais are not going to be a match for the huge amount of archers that we see here from Baltune. He does not have +2 ranged attack just yet, but he's got a few crossbows in the mix, which should help his case significantly.
Not just that, I think Baltune just snuck some knights into the deer line on the back. So, raid damage being done, while attention is being drawn to this west side. Just kind of splitting the map up, being frustrating, and that immediately gets the GG out of him. It just took 2 knights slipping in. A 2-0 lead building now for Baltune, and Scarlet running out of places to hide.
Scandinavian boys looking good today. We have our Finnish Chad making it through in Baltune right now. He's having to be number 2 to make it through for our road to Wololo with already 2-0 up. We can see there was a little bit of back and forth. Scarlet Devil overcommitting in that early game quite a bit, losing a significant portion of his army, and just not really playing Sengoku the way we've seen other players do it, with the constant raiding, the movement speed abuse, I will call it. He just kept the army together, felt confident enough, and A-moved. And that was the moment, I think, he just lost the game.
It felt like Scarlet had a very different idea in mind than what most do. I mean, first of all, he focused too much on parlor tricks with the Shinobi early on. But this was unusual. It's not that Sengoku can't do feudal lins. It's just that most players in this matchup tend to lean towards the idea of castle being more important. So you play Yari to raid, you force your opponent to overreact, and you tech. He done all this to kill a village. Now, he did kill that village, but look at the blacksmith text. This is what I was talking about at this stage of the game. You had the melee 1, you had the daimyo aura, you had the undermesh, and he still lost the battle entirely, right? Like, the outcome afterwards is just horrible for him. And from that point on, I just didn't really see the way. And now, with what's coming up, I'm a little bit dubious here. Scarlet Devil has got English on front range, so king of the board, technically. But Baltune has got that infamous Japanese.
Now, Malians, again, just being said, no, we're not dealing with that. Byzantines, no, not dealing with that either. And honestly, this seems to be the new way of banning. If you don't have enough bans, you just make it up through the snipe system in that case. But Japan versus English, I remember the days, KP. Japan used to get destroyed by English, and then it kind of became an S-tier civilization, and English was the one left behind. When you have a map like Front Range, how does this matchup play out? Have you seen this matchup on Front Range?
This one rarely comes up, I feel like. Both these CFs can be viable here, but not often being drafted at the same time. I think part of it's because Japan has a lot of other places they can be. English does make sense here occasionally. English is really strong. You have to remember that the Dark Age rush plan, like, if you go for it, but English pull into the boar, okay, so we're going to walk spearmen one by one into a bunch of short bows? A little bit dicey, but you could technically push him back. I remember a long time ago watching a Japanese player do that. He sent his spears in, it scared the English player away, and then he went onto the boar himself and built an outpost. It's like there's that kind of tug and pull, but it almost feels like that requires your opponent being too greedy here. Interesting thought, by the way, Warman. You mentioned it already. Scandinavians, I think we mean Nordics. I just realized we could this could literally just be King of the Nords, because every single series has a Nordic presence. We are on track for it to be a day of celebration for the wintry lands.
Finally, people get something to celebrate. We see our producers celebrating preemptively
No Norwegians qualifying, though, so...
The rest of Scandinavia representing. Very, very nice. But Scarlet Devil still has House of Lancaster in his deck of cards. The thing is, I also feel like it's a civilization that would just get sniped. But when you get into a position where you have Byzantines and House of Lancaster, which one does Baltune choose to face rather? But keeping in mind, Scarlet Devil was the one choosing this map. So he must feel confident enough with these two on this map to actually make it work. And to be fair, we've seen some crazy stuff from English. This is no longer the age of one-dimensional play. English has a lot of choices. They have a lot of styles. The problem is just front range is so limited. You can run around, but it's so limited in the sense of if you make a mistake, your opponent is just going to move out and actually end your life, especially Japan. With those mounted samurais, if they decide to go for something as spicy as a fast castle against an English.
Front range is a very aggressively oriented map. If you choose to be too greedy, you forfeit the mid map, and the problem with that is the tug and pull enables a kill. The boar spawn between your two bases. Think about the value of that. You've ever played a map where like your economy is on your production line towards the battle. You don't have to be paranoid about defending. You don't have to set up loads of outposts or leave an army at home because you're always close by. And that's the momentum you see. It's like the best way I can describe this map is when you watch it play out, if you had heat maps, it's a tug of war. That's literally what's happening. Like we're just yanking across the same stretch of land. The north doesn't matter until like post 15 minutes. So if you are greedy, it can often backfire. I don't think it's impossible for English to be like 2 TC here in greed, but you are kind of just putting the ball in Baltune's court to win or lose the game.
Now, English is luckily a civ they can not let Japan run away and get away with what they usually do because they get that free king in the early game. And I'm guessing we haven't seen longbows. KP, please correct me if I'm wrong. We haven't seen longbows in a...
On this map, you can. On this map, it's feasible.
No.
Like, seriously.
Like this.
It's weird as well because there's actually not that much wood, but a counterpull timing is viable on front range.
Okay. And the discount adding some little bit of extra value. But honestly, I would love to see a little bit of longbows. The thing is, Scarlet is someone who raids and knows how to do it well. Guys, we are ready for game number 3. Is this going to be a 3-0 for Mr. Tuna? Was Scarlet Devil going to bring us a reverse sweep? We will see in our, I would say, age-old matchup, but just English. Oh, I missed seeing English in tournaments. Welcome back, English. We've missed you. I'm sure all of Twitch chat is sitting here like, yes, English in tournaments. Love that. Wow.
Yeah, I feel like none of them are truly saying we've missed you. I don't know if that's the choice of words the most that would have went with. But this is an interesting one because I think, if I'm not mistaken, actually, like I saw English do a council hall rush just the other day with Beastie and the KPMM. So like it's still viable. It's on the menu. Curious to see if Scarlet is going to go that way. Like apparently he's a big fan of just like 2 TC strats here. But like if you 2 TC, what stops Baltune from just fast castling?
And 2 TC doesn't do much against a bunch of mounted samurai in your face.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about mounted samurai. It just they're knights, right? They've got a little shield and everything, but they just feel so smooth when running into your wood line, when running into your second TC and just barely taking any damage. So Scarlet Devil is not going to be able to be greedy here at all. So he's only got 2 on gold though. And I don't want to read too much into that, but usually if I see an 8-2 on English, I see a little mining camp being dropped on the stone, especially when they're that close. Oh, KP.
Oh, so it's happening. Yeah. I mean,
It's happening.
It felt like it was inevitable when you didn't see her walk over to the ball, right? Like, if you were going all in, you play for the ball, you go council hall, you rush in afterwards. It's like, but now, like, as a result of that, like, keep in mind you do not have much food safe in your base. Yes, you can create farms. They're very cheap. But if Baltune reads this correctly and just plays up map ball, he can start pushing into you pretty fast or just going for that greedy tech play. The curious part here is, like, in particular, the wood detail. I think, like, when you look at front range, the idea of 2 TC English isn't impossible. But the problem you have to tackle is that the white tower value should be minimized compared to Dry Arabia, because there's not much resource on one screen.
The thing is that white tower, right now, it probably will get placed forward there, securing one of those wood lines, the gold and the berries. But right now, the Abbey of Kings is the one that's stacked at the back there of the gold, which pretty interesting placement there for him. He's using those 2 gold villages to build it, trying to minimize the idle time from them as much as possible by just putting them to work. But that's 2 villagers building it. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
And we see 5 on gold from Baltune while aging up.
I think
so
we just see
know
fast
what's
castle.
happening.
Yeah, like you could maybe have just been one on the current. Actually, I think it was Louis and Scarlet that came up with like a really, really efficient 1 villager Kura build to get castle very cleanly. So, you know, kind of reminiscent of when you were seeing H3 with the 1 villager on like a mine work. But the idea here should be TC drop on the gold. But once again, like you don't get as much value with that type of strategy. Remember, those gold veins are only 1,600. They're not a full 4K.
Definitely not going to help you survive against all this mounted samurai that will be pouring in towards you. But Baltune, now he's already so close to having enough resources to make that jump. And that's the crazy thing. We're 4 minutes into the game. He's already close to 300 gold. Yes, we're going to need to find a way to get more food, but also being very responsible about this. He's
got the
got
berries.
5 on wood here.
Yeah, he's already got Tawada as well, so like it's a nice switch. And you know your opponent doesn't have as much food long term, right? Because remember, you only get 9 sheep each. There's a very small amount of sheep on this map, and they all spawn close to your TC. And then you get a free deer stack. After that, you know what it is? It's like you're not the spoiled prep kid that just gets Ferraris and for their life, right? This is like, hey, you're 16. You need to move out of the house now because you need to rent your room. You should probably get a job, and you can start providing for the house. Thank you.
KB, sometimes when you go on these rants, I really find myself asking, where do these come from? Where are they sourced from? Do they just come from your soul? Is there a lot of...
I must have had a deep life. Like the amount of stories we've had is like at that point you got to believe in reincarnation.
Now, when I'm looking at the plan here for Scarlet Devil, he has nothing on gold. So he's not going to follow this up with a 2TC into going fast castle himself, trying to get that white tower to do the work. He's going to fight this. And I don't know how I feel about this.
How?
Which, honestly, yes, how are you going to fight this? With your feudal age spearmen against mounted samurais, I feel like this is a pretty tough position already. But that second TC is coming in now. And usually the question is, can English get that white tower up to survive at least the initial onslaught? And that's usually when they recover and do quite well. But this now, we're going to farms, boys. We're getting farms, we're getting food, and we're going to fight this thing in feudal while Baltune is just living his best life as a Castle Age Japan player pretty soon. Getting all those, he's going to be able to get those relics without the pressure.
I mean, there's a king. It's a little bit annoying, but yeah, the king has to somehow cover all the relics. And with the design of this map, it's very hard to do. So Outpost, just smart read by Baltune. Tech Up's going to start soon for him. Scarlet, I wonder if he should just straight up win deer. Like, I don't know. This is an underrated detail. You have to remember English recently received a buff where they get increased gathering rates around campfires. So he could have like went out to the deer with like a 2TC strat and then dropped a campfire to boost his gathering. That would have gotten him a pretty competitive timing with White Tower.
I'm really glad you mentioned that because I completely forgot about this. And I'm guessing someone in Twitch chat also did. So you guys remember that if you're playing ladder. But that king, you can see how beautifully this man is playing. Baltune just body blocking that charge with the scout. Disgusting.
It was so casual as well. Like he didn't move more than he needed to. You know, like it's like when those like kind of nerding out about Star Wars and Obi-Wan is like, wow, he doesn't move more than he needs to, so he never gets burnt out. It's like, wow, he's a Jedi master.
But look at this. Scarlet now, he did not go for the, hey, I'm going to go for castle myself and try to survive this. He went for, I'm going to make farms and try to fight this in feudal into, I'm going to go for castle. So this man committed a little bit, pulled back, and he's back to committing. Now Floating Gate is coming up in 38 seconds, and the problem is, with him not having any spears, it's going to be a really tough time for him. Starting off the Uma Bannerman, love that.
Yeah.
already getting some presence on the map.
It's going to get all upgraded, right? And, like, you know, I'm starting to think Scarlet Devil believes that Housewives myth, that when Mounted Samurai see farms, they have to burn them. Because, like, that's literally the only thing that's going to be defending his base at this rate. Like, there's nothing else.
Well, hopefully there's some kind of plague or pesticide. Oh, pest.
That's the strat. Yeah, so, like, you set fire to the contaminated farm, and then the fumes kill you. This makes more sense
exactly. That's the only way that this works. But Baltune, he's ready. He doesn't have that Mounted Samurai queued up just yet, as he was idled out.
The Umu's already heading to the base. Like, the Umu's literally already on the way for party time.
And Scarlet is nowhere near smelling a white tower just yet. He's going to sniff it, but it's going to give a very faint odor. And he's going to lose a few villages getting that thing up. So Baltune's Mounted Samurai now in queue. We can see that thing coming out at the speed of light. Uma Bannerman going to be going straight for the goal.
Party time.
Which just...
Under message came in. You just don't really do any damage. Look at the health bar. Look. Oh, wow. You've tickled me. This is that person who fails to pass first grade 8 times. And he bullies everyone on the playground. That's his immediate GG. There you go, guys. Your classic 2TC Mass Farm English 9-minute GG. It's just you will be the one GGing.
I'm making this on a build on YouTube. So, guys, if you want to check out how to do this English build, please hit me up. But seriously, we do not do this that aggressively, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot just let the horses ruin your day. And that's exactly what Scarlet did here. Baltune, though, he played this like the Baltuner. He is the champion, now making his way all the way through from the qualifiers to the next qualifiers. He will represent Sweden as a 3-0. What more can you want?
I mean, the speed run in the end as well. Just like I said, 9 minutes on clock, I thought we like 8.5. It's the irony, the beauty as well is like this. Like I said, the first arrival back in this super fast castle strat was Louis and Scarlet cooking it up mid last year. So it's kind of ironic that it comes back to bite Scarlet in the ass a little bit later. But props to Baltune. That means we're on course for the Nords to just demolish everyone. Should we just call the rest of the day? There's no point at this point, right? Voldemar's got to beat Scatterbrained. Numenon's got to beat Myriad. Sorry, lads. It's just, I mean, it's all about themes.